ambition is that certain people have it naturally, and then a lot of people don't have it, so they feel like, oh, I just don't have it. But if you ask those people, very simply, what do you want out of your life? What are you trying to achieve? They can't really tell you anything. And it's because they haven't projected their lives into the future, 5, 10, 15 years, and thought about what it might be like. And because they've never done that, whether it be because their parents taught them to be just a cog in the machine, or school didn't teach them to be creative, we have a situation where people have a hard time developing ambition, because if you don't have any dreams, hopes, or wishes for yourself, what do you have to be ambitious about? So when you're one of these people who doesn't actually have ambition naturally, you have to start thinking, what is my life going to be like 5 years from now? What is my life going to be like 10 years from now? What is my life going to be like 20 years from now? And what is my life going to be like in those time frames if I don't change? And what do I want for myself if I could get anything I wanted? And when you start thinking like that, you start to dream, you start to create, you start to want more for yourself, which helps drive the ambition internally, all right? And we miss out on a lot of these things because right now, in the way that we operate and how technology is, we spend so much time scrolling and so much time consuming that we actually don't have any time to be bored. And usually boredom is when people create in their mind, they think about what they want, which drives the ambitious nature within them that we all have as human beings. Look, humans have created the entire earth over 12,000 years. Everybody has ambition if they have something they're trying to achieve. But the problem with people who don't have it is that they just don't think about it. They spend all their time trying to be entertained, scrolling, paying attention to other things. And if you're paying attention to other things and you don't have time to think about what your life's going to be like, then how can you have any ambition?
You're watching other people's ambition.
Correct. So we have to train ourselves to visualize ourselves and what we want out of our lives, which will in turn drive the ambition from the inside out into the external world. Does that make sense?
It makes sense.
So you have to practice this. It's not something that just happens. There are some people who are just wired to fucking go and win. I am like that. I've always been like that. And a lot of you guys watch me and maybe other people like me and you say, fuck, how come he has that and I don't have that? Well, because from a very early age, I was encouraged to dream and think and try to create what I wanted to be in my life. I was very lucky to have parents that encouraged those things, all right? So from the time I was 4, 5, 6, 7 years old, I was like, man, I want to be this, I want to do that, I want to do this, which instilled the skill of ambition. So while you might read it as, oh, it's just a trait that he has, well, I've been practicing that for a long time. So it's actually a skill that I've developed. So if you want to start developing a skill of ambition, start thinking about what you want out of your life. And then also on the counter, think about what your life will be like if you don't change, which is a very powerful driver behind the ambitions that you create. You got to know where you're going. You got to know what you want. Most people put more time into going out with their friends and making plans for their vacation than they do their entire life. Yeah. That doesn't make any sense. So what you have to do is you have to have a place that you're going, and then you have to have the ability to follow the plan, which is discipline, to execute the plan day in and day out, day in and day out, day in and day out to get to that place. Motivation is going to come and go. There's going to be days where you're going to feel fucking amazing. There's going to be days where you feel like you could just get up and run through a wall, and on those days you can. But here's the thing. On the days you don't feel like that, you still can. And that's where people miss. You could still run through those walls when you don't feel like running through them. And if you train yourself to be disciplined, you're not going to miss the gaps that other people would miss because they can only operate when they're motivated. Yeah. So you're able to go win after win after win after win after win, where they're going win, win, 3 days breaks, another 2 wins. And if you just do the math, you can see who's going to get where they want to go and who's going to get where they want to go faster. So that's why I tell you guys all the time, if you listen to them, you'll be like them. And most people will shit on big goals. They will say, oh, you're materialistic. Oh, you're morally misaligned. Oh, I'm morally superior to you because I can get by with less. What the fuck are you talking about? It has nothing to do with being a good person, And by the way, you can do way more with resources for other people than you can without them. So all of this shit talk on success is just bullshit propaganda that comes from people who wish they would have done something else but chose not to. And because they chose not to, they don't like you thinking that way either, because they're afraid that if you go out and show them that it's possible, that they will believe that it was possible for them and they just shit their life away. All right? So we have to deal with this realistic attitude. Let's talk about what they teach in school. They tell you when you're in kindergarten, DJ, you could be anything you want. You could be president. You could be a billionaire. You got to dream big. That's what they tell us in kindergarten, right? By the time we're in 6th grade, you need to start thinking about your future. You need to start thinking, I realize you got big dreams, but let's start to be realistic here. By the time you're a sophomore in high school, it's what's your major? What are you going to school for? Oh, I want to be president. The other kid's beating you up, throwing you in the locker. Okay, so over the course of time, we go as people from being told we can achieve greatness to being told by people who couldn't achieve greatness that we will never be great. And so when we think about it like that, it makes sense as to why people don't dream. And when people don't dream, they don't have ambition, which creates a scenario where they can't achieve anything. So we have to understand the dynamic. When we're young, we're told we could be anything. But because we have to go through life and be around motherfuckers that never did a goddamn thing in their entire life, some of that rubs off on us. And we have to be smart enough to look at them and say, I don't want that life. That's not the life I want. That's not how I want to live. That's not what I want to drive. That's not me. And we have to say, fuck that. And we have to decide that we're going to do something else. And dude, that's very hard to do when it's your parents and your friends and your network and your teachers, all these people you're supposed to trust. And because we trust them, we start to believe, well, maybe those rich people are pieces of shit. Maybe it is an immoral thing to try and want more. Maybe it is a bad thing that I'm not meek and modest and, shut my mouth. But dude, when you're 60 years old, you're going to say, fuck, I wish I wasn't so meek and modest and kept my mouth shut, because I'd have a lot more to show for my life. So if you understand how it happens, you can understand what to do about it. And what you need to do about it is stop listening to motherfuckers that don't have what you want. That's it.